Yo guys, what's happening? It's time for my 2011 E3 Microsoft press conference review, I guess this is. Alright, last year there was a heavy emphasis on the Kinect, and in particular casual games on the 360. Is this a bad thing? Not necessarily. One thing we all need to keep in mind is that E3 is not all about just appealing to the people that will be watching this thing on streams online as it comes out. Not exactly. This is also a big event for advertisers, for sort of tipping the cap towards investors, things like that. So you need to keep it in mind. I mean, generally, these press conferences, maybe this is just sort of a reflection of the quality, kind of, but they're not really meant to be that exciting. They're actually usually kind of dull, especially when it's not something that is appealing particularly to you, and not everything is here to appeal to everybody. It sort of segments itself into being for, hey, here are some casual games, here are some hardcore games, here's your Halo, enjoy. Yeah, shit like that. But you know what? Let's just forget about that. First game that they show off is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Sledgehammer Games is now working with Infinity Ward. They're a new studio. They've not actually made anything else. I'm sure some industry veterans are in the studio, but can't really say or comment on what we think the quality will be based off of the developer. But really, remember that last Call of Duty game where you walked like 15 seconds forward and then this big spectacular explosion happened, and then you lost control for another 20 seconds, and then a story sequence came, and then you barely got to play, and then it was over in like 5 hours. Yeah, that's what we're going to get again. It looks very pretty. I know that it has its audience and that everybody loves it online. Not really for me. I'm sure it will be what it always is, so let's just move on. New Tomb Raider game. Crystal Dynamics is now under the wing of Square Enix. I'm not entirely sure what that particularly means because it's not like every Square title ends up being a stellar knock out of the park, but we can always hope that that means something good rather than bad. It's kind of interesting. With Tomb Raider, it's like they're sort of trying to make a legitimate franchise out of it now. Like, when it first came out, let's be honest with ourselves, it played kind of like shit. It looked like shit. I even thought so when it was just the PS1 there. I believe it was also on the Saturn. Who cares? Yeah, it was all about the big polygon tits, more or less. But it seems like now they're kind of going for this Uncharted type of feel with the series. The last few games have sort of felt like that, with basically Uncharted-like gameplay. I'm hoping that this turns out good. It actually does look pretty interesting, and since they do seem to be going in this direction of trying to make a legitimate franchise out of this rather than just rebooting with something else, I'll have my hopes for it, and maybe I'll check it out, at least rent it. It looks decent enough, but amusingly enough, with the E3 here, neither of these games are going to be exclusive. I have no idea why they showed them here at the press conference. And you can really tell with crap like this that Microsoft is really padding things out. They really don't have that much going on. And it kind of shows moving forward as well. They basically now just shift gears into being all about the Kinect. Oh boy, EA comes out and says, hey, guess what? EA Sports, we're now going to be representing Madden. You remember Madden, right? Now that's going to have Kinect features. You remember Tiger Woods Golf? It's going to have Kinect features. FIFA, it's going to have Kinect features. They don't exactly say what those features will be, so this was pretty much just a waste of time, but, you know, whatever. EA then sort of says, hey, check out our other studios, Mass Effect 3. This is going to be awesome. We all know that Mass Effect 3 is going to be awesome. This is not a Microsoft game. It's going to be all over the place. So, somewhat of a waste of time, although they're trying to emphasize the Kinect once again. You can speak out the dialogue portions in order to choose them, which is something that I would not plan on doing any which way because that would just get kind of tiring. And then you can also, and this does seem kind of cool, direct your teammates or squad mates into where you want them to go by just yelling at them at the Kinect microphone, which makes me wonder, if this is so exciting, why haven't we just been able to do this with the Kinect, or not the Kinect, but the microphone that ships with every Xbox 360 system? And why can't we do this on the PS3 version or the PC version? This is kind of useless. And in fact, because this will be coming out for the 360, Don't you think that you should include that feature as well? I really hope they do, or else that's going to be pretty annoying. Moving on, there's also Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Future Soldier. It's, shooting once again, commanding your squad mates, Kinect features. Kind of cool in that you can use it to browse menus. Yeah, exciting. This is the top and pinnacle of Kinect here, using it for menu browsing. But you can also do this thing where you sort of hold your stance like you're about to shoot a Kamehameha and then open your bottom hand, and apparently this shoots a gun. Neat, I guess, but it's just not going to have the precision that anyone wants, so it's pretty much a useless novelty feature. Yep, I said it. Also, you can, browse menus with Kinect now. Wasn't that something that they were talking about last year? Isn't that kind of useless to talk about now? I'm surprised that you can't already do that. And guess what? YouTube! Oh boy, now you can browse YouTube on your 360. Oh freaking yay. And Bing! Oh boy, Bing! A search engine is coming to the 360 as well. Oh wow. Moving on, UFC, and you can tell that this is just some sort of hey, we gotta scratch your back because now we have this partnership, even though this has nothing to do with games. Dana White, is that his name? I believe so. He comes out and says that now you can watch UFC fights on the 360. I guess that's kind of neat. I'm not really sure how people watch those fights today. I don't really follow the UFC, but cool for you, I guess. Yep, then they sort of switch back to trying to go a little bit more hardcore with the games. Got Gears of War 3, Cliffy B and Ice-T come out and play this thing. It is what it is. I don't dislike Gears of War. I don't think it's the greatest thing ever. It does have enough production values to be entertaining for at least one run through. And I've never actually played a Gears of War with somebody, so I imagine that would make it even better. So if I do try this one out, I'm going to make a point into playing through it with somebody because, let's see, Lost Planet 2, that really made that game. So yeah, I'll try this game when it comes out. Not that excited, although I'm sure there are people that are very excited. So cool for you. Rise, it is a Kinect sword fighting game. Now, this is one of those things where, you watch this promotional video and you're like, oh boy, my imagination is running wild. This could be awesome. But if you have ever played with a toy sword, you know that it's the sort of feedback that really makes it feel like you're doing something. And in particular, the reason why it feels cool to swing a real sword is because that thing is pretty heavy. And when you hit something, you can't just immediately move it again because there's momentum that you have to deal with and other physics and crap like that, which really makes sword swinging fun in a real life type of scenario. So this entire ooh, let me wave my hands like I'm in the color guard or something like that, not that exciting to me. Just it's not very exciting at all. I've already done this with Wii games where you're swinging the Wii remote around, which feels a little bit better because at least you're holding something at that point. Just not very thrilling here. I really don't care. Just because it's HD visuals does not really mean that this is going to be an amazing game. Sorry, Rise looks boring. Moving on a little bit more, Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary is coming out. They're remaking the original Halo game in HD, and they're really making some things look pretty. I am not entirely sure if this is needed, but I do know some people who love Halo that are looking forward to this. And I do believe that Halo is a good game. I'll get into that more, but it's cool. I'm all for it. Forza 4, car racing, now with Kinect head tracking. I guess it's kind of cool. Not really my thing, so I'm not even going to state that much. I mean, Forza, it's a good series if you like car racing. It's kind of nice how these actually come out, unlike the Sony Gran Turismo games, which never actually come out, even though they seem to talk about them every single goddamn year. But, Forza, yay, oh boy. Fable the Journey, it's an on-rails Fable game where you're swinging your hand around and magic comes out, and I don't know. A unicorn comes galloping by shitting rainbows. Who gives a crap? This is going to be horrible. This does not look like anything that has any sort of precision in its controls, and it looks much like a novelty piece of shit. Not going to hold back with that. Disneyland Adventures. It looks horrible. It's for kids. Keep in mind, though, that this is basically for the advertisers and not really for the hardcore gamers. This is because Microsoft wants to appeal to people that want to shit money at them so that they will have more money to invest in other random things. So that's why they have this crap here. It's not really meant to be good. They bring out the little kids and they sort of yelp a little script at each other like, hey, look out for that, as if they haven't actually practiced this thing 1,000 times. It is what it is. There's a new Star Wars game using Kinect. It's on rails, and once again, just like that Fable game that I talked about, it looks like horse shit. Just like all of these Wii novelty games that came out where it's like, oh boy, you're on rails, but you can do whatever when you swing your Wii remote. No, don't care at all. Sesame Street, Once Upon a Monster, just like Disneyland Adventures, a bunch of novelty games. Don't fool yourself into thinking that this is going to be particularly exciting. It's just an HD, so you're not used to looking like that. It's not going to be very good. Sorry. And then there's this Kinect Lab stuff. And if this was coming at the end of a great lineup of new announcements in video games, I would say that this is a great addition to that. A lot of people are probably going to shit on the idea of Kinect Labs because it's not really saving E3. It's novelty stuff. This stuff actually does look kind of cool, though, where you can capture your face and body to make a little a little Xbox avatar, which looks exactly like you. You know, that's novelty stuff. There's this finger tracking novelty game where you can paint in 3D. And there's object scanning where you can, I don't know, take a shit onto a paper towel and then scan that in and then wiggle around and watch it dance like Mr. Hanky. A lot of novelty stuff like that I do think is cool. It is not saving E3, but I'm not going to crap on it because it does look alright. There's also Kinect Sports Season 2. Who gives a shit? More random sports games that barely control. And then there's Dance Central 2. I'm not going to necessarily crap on this idea either. In fact, I think it's actually a novel idea if dancing and getting down with your bad self is your thing to do. Not particularly my thing, but it is pretty nifty, I will say. And then they close the thing with Halo 4. And Halo 4, I know a lot of people think, oh, Halo, oh boy, the generic FPS. It's really not that generic. It is a game that really cemented some ideas, even though it was not necessarily fully original, but it did what it did so well that basically every other game since then has been trying to copy that, or at least copy some aspects of that. Thus, it kind of feels like it's been played out. But, Halo games in particular have a great versatility in how you can go about levels, and that's what I really appreciate about this series, that you can play the levels in various ways that you just can't do in other random ass FPS games like Singularity and stuff like that, where you can, depending on whether or not you have a long range sniper type of gun or something that shoots very quickly, or these other weird ass random guns that I can't even really describe that easily. You can either, go in the trenches and fight it out like some Twitch game, or you can sort of flank left or flank right, and there's usually these great big areas and a lot of cool stuff you can do. But anyways, that's the E3 presentation from Microsoft. Not that exciting to watch just because all of this Kinect crap, I really hate it when it sounds like I'm shitting on everything, but haven't we learned that tacked-on motion controls are not that exciting? Haven't we? Well, I guess the people that buy this stuff have not, thus that's why they're trying to appeal to them. There's really not that much that's 360 exclusive that I care about, minus the novelty kids crap, minus the games that I don't know why they're showing here because they're going to be on all the systems. Minus that, what do you have? You have Halo 4, which is cool that they barely show. You have Gears of War 3, which they showed last year, so not that exciting. Forza 4, it's more car racing, not that exciting. Not that exciting in that you know what to expect already. It's just sort of an average presentation where you can tell that they were sort of grasping at straws. Is that the right phrase here? Is that the right cliche? I don't even know. So let me know what you guys thought, and thanks for watching.